So I quit paying attention to COVID bullshit for the most part for like a few months now. I haven't really been following it too damn much because I'm getting sick of it. I'm annoyed with it. I catch little blurbs here and there and I'm like, oh yeah, it's whatever, still going on. Nothing unpredictable there. It's gonna keep going on too. Talking about this Delta strain right now, and here in Canada we're gonna open things up on July the 1st, so we'll hook some Patriot love that they masters probably think that we need after a year of abuse from them. So they'll let us take our masks off and be normal for a while. But this Delta variant, I'm curious as to whether or not it, or perhaps the Echo variant, when it inevitably shows up, comes along, will reintroduce us back into the same scenario we were in, say in maybe October or November, somewhere around there. As not really predicted, because you could just go read what Klaus Schwab says in his book, climate lockdowns have been mentioned in the news now too. It's kind of starting to be a thing. It's bubbling through the media now. I've seen Tucker Carlson talking about it the other day. But so whatever. I've got the odd thing here and there, and I know a little bit, of course, what's going on. But I'm not a deep diver on it. But a video did pass by my eyes the other day that I decided to watch by it was Bret Weinstein. If you don't know who that is, he's a professor of biology, and he was attacked by his SJW students at his school for not wanting to participate and like feel bad for being White Day or whatever. It's kind of like a Jordan Peterson kind of idea. He got accosted by a bunch of students at his school, stood up for himself. I think he changed universities. Last I heard, it was years ago when I was listening to that stuff as it was happening, and it's been a while, right? I don't remember for sure. But he also started this podcast, but he had Robert Malone, Dr. Robert Malone, who's an mRNA specialist. He actually helps build mRNAs of various types. And Steve Kirsch on his podcast the other day, and I had a Redpilled vaccine video, right? It was like a clip out of a whole interview. It was about 15 minutes long, but it was a really key part of probably the whole interview, really. But talking about the cytotoxicity of the mRNA vaccine. What happens, I guess, is when that spike from the vaccine, the protein spike, jabs one of your cells, it actually breaks off, and then it starts free floating through your system, which isn't normal for like a traditional vaccine. Traditional vaccine, you get it in your arm, it stays in your arm, it doesn't flow through your whole body, but that's what this thing is doing. And they were talking about some of the people that they knew that were getting various symptoms. Some could be attributed to it and some can't, because some things aren't written down as the side effects. And so if something happens but it's not recorded, they'll go, oh, well, that's not one of the side effects. We don't know what did that. So you see how this is going to work. This is going to be another 9/11. This is going to be another put Hitler in jail. This is going to be another put Donald Trump in jail. None of these people are going to go to jail for anything that they've done. And I think a whole lot of damage, besides the damage that's already happened, is potentially going to come. Who knows? It's possible that it might even trigger cancers in people that might show up later. Pretty bad shit. But Dr. Malone talks about the fact that it's cytotoxic, like it's harming various parts of people depending on where it goes and what it does. So that's not good. I don't know who'd want to do that to themselves, knowing this now, but it's interesting because it's the little bit of news about it that's contrary to what the mainstream is allowing, that hasn't been yeeted yet. It's still around. So I'm going to put that in the link in the descriptions for you to go check out and go listen to that 15 minutes. I think it's really important. Some of the stuff they were listing is like people they know that have shaking hands now. They can't stop. Pick up a glass of water, shaking hand. There was a woman who got it a month before her baby was born. The kid was born with like something wrong with its head. Like bad stuff. Again, because it's not listed, it can't be attributed to it, but it's also a state of emergency with it, so you can't be held responsible anyway. But, you know, I know people who've taken it and people who weren't going to take it and they have taken it now, and I kind of feel bad about that. You know, I think they were pressured into it, and, you know, hopefully nothing happens to them in the near future or even the long future over this shit, right? I don't want to lose one of my fucking friends over nonsense. You know, like, yeah, he's got a grandmother that, of course, no one wants her to get sick and die, but who's to say that it would happen anyway, you know? It's kind of more or less past. The chances of getting it now and then giving it to her is probably pretty low. But they talk about, yeah, some shit. And the thing with Malone is that he is in contact with the FDA constantly over this stuff. So it's not like he's uncredible or anything like that. Maybe that's why they haven't taken it down. But who's to say anyone else who was speaking out against it wasn't just as credible as he was too, and yet they got silenced on it, right? So it's kind of interesting shit. But yeah, like I say, we could end up coming back into it until the climate lockdown eventually starts coming out as more of a thing too. We just gone through this really bad heat spell for almost 2 weeks now where I'm from, and apparently it's going to start hitting other places too. So once that goes through enough, I mean, they could, you know, throw that in as the science and trust the science. And I don't know, man, there's something about the sun that seems hotter these days. It's really bright and really fucking hot right now. And I mean, it's bright. You can hardly look at it. So I know that there is some activity going on with that. And that's not really being considered in their climate models. They don't add sun fluctuation, and they don't consider the Pacific Ring of Fire, and they don't consider there's like a warm water current that comes from Africa and then it crosses up to Florida every year. That's where you get your hurricanes from, actually, is that warm water. By the time it makes it out to fall in the Florida coast, it's cooling off there, and so you end up with that temperature differential that causes, you know, water tornadoes, hurricanes. So yeah, but anyway, that's some of the stuff that I guess we're going to be dealing with in the future, probably pretty soon, over the next year or two. And I'm like I say, I'm going to put that down in the description. I highly recommend going and watching that. Go and listen to everything they have to say about it. I'm not going to talk about it myself because I want you to just go watch it. So, but that's a couple tidbits from it, though, at least anyway. That it flies through your system and that it damages anywhere that it touches that, you know, can be damaged. So who knows what all else could happen with it, right? But anyway, that's enough for that. So peace the fuck out.